Good morning from Jonesboro, Arkansas, May 26, 2022, 6:53 a.m. And the Arkansas courts have upheld a ruling that has to deal with solar panels in the state of Arkansas. Now, Arkansas, like a lot of states, if you have solar panels on your house, any excess that goes into the grid from your solar panels, the utility companies are required by law to buy that from you for the price they sell it for. So this is from a Facebook post. This is the person that put the news story up of this ruling. And normally on Facebook, I put up some quotes on Facebook a few weeks ago, and one of my sons told me, he said, hey, you may want to shade out their name in the future. And I was like, no, Facebook is sort of a public forum. If you post something on Facebook, then you have no expectations of privacy, and anybody can use it or anything, in my opinion. But this came from a private group, so I'm going to just copy and paste what they said and not give their name or their likeness or anything like that, because I view private groups separately. You still, in my opinion, have no expectation of privacy if you post in a private group on Facebook. Depending on how many people's in there, for sure. If it's you and your two best friends, just the three of you, you do have an expectation of privacy because your friends shouldn't be stabbing you in the back. But this is from the Arkansas EV owners on Facebook. So anyway, here's what they said. Some good news for Arkansas solar owners. The Court of Appeals has ruled on net metering. Now, this is just this one person saying this. This is what they're saying. Hopefully, this will remove the uncertainty surrounding small solar systems. In its ruling, the court specifically upheld Arkansas's net metering rate structure, by which solar energy companies receive the full retail rate for excess energy they return to the electric grid. Reversed the authority of utilities to impose a grid charge. We're going to talk about this in a moment. That's going to be the second subject today. Grid charges or minimum charges. Reverse the authority of utilities to impose a grid charge to net metering customers, which means in Arkansas, they cannot charge you a grid charge. Now, I wonder if they can charge you a minimum amount each month. I don't know. Legal issues can get tricky. Clarified net metering requirements in a way that made it easier to both approve small solar systems. I wonder if God had to get his small solar system approved for us through somebody. Anyway, both approve small solar systems and to aggregate smaller solar systems. You can read the entire Court of Appeals decision here. So anyway, they posted this right here. And I will put a link to, I got three things I want to talk about today. 3 different links. I will post the 3 links in the comments. This is the actual ruling. I am too dumb to read it and understand it. I skimmed through just a little bit. Man, stuff like this is proof of how I could never make it through law school. I'm just not smart enough. My son's best friend, he graduated from law school probably a year ago, I'm guessing. Man, that proves right there he's a smarter man than I am. I can make a heads nor tails from a lot of this stuff. Plus, I get bored with it. I start falling asleep, and I start thinking, good God, what the hell does this word mean? I'm just too dumb. Anyway, but I'll put a link to this if you want to read the entire thing. If you're smarter than me and you can figure it out. Now, here's a story I found. Appeals court ruling back solar development. And this pretty much says the same thing. Feel free to pause and read this if you want, but it pretty much just confirms what the person on the Arkansas EV Owners Facebook group said. Including that they upheld the 1-to-1 rate for power solar customers to put electricity back into the grid. Whatever they charge for it, they have to pay for it. Now, the other side argues that we're using the grid, but we're not paying for it. And I can understand that argument. I certainly can. I just made some of you mad. That's all right. But, if you're going to, here's the thing. We don't have a battery with our system. I want a battery at some point, but to keep the cost down for now, we didn't get a battery because they are so expensive. So anything our solar powers produce, once they're finally working, what they produce will go to what we need for our house, and any excess goes into the grid. Then later at night or during the winter when it doesn't produce enough or anything like that, we draw from the grid. And they pay us when we send it to the grid. We pay them when it comes from the grid. So yeah, we're using the grid and not really paying a whole lot for it. It's kind of like the whole argument with electric cars. People argue that you're using the highway, using roads, but you're not paying your fair share because you're not buying gas. You're not paying for gas. Gas tax. You're not paying gas tax. And I'd say, and this is just anecdotal, the numbers I'm giving you are anecdotal from just my perspective, but my guess is about 40% of all EV enthusiasts say that's the way it should be. We shouldn't have to pay any extra to get our car registered, and because we're saving the earth and we're doing this and we're doing that, making life better. So it's fine. And I'd say about 60% of even EV owners take the other side. No, we need to pay our fair share. And I'm with them. I think we should pay a little extra to register our cars. Now in Arkansas, it's 900% extra, $200 more. I think $100 would be more fair. I really do. I think $100, I ran the numbers a year or so ago and found that $100 would be just about fair. It costs $25 to register your car in Arkansas, but it costs you $225 if it's an electric car. But anyway, let's get back to this subject. They're kind of the same thing. I would not mind, I haven't thought about this enough. So I don't know for sure, but I'm leaning toward I would not mind a very small charge, or a very small minimum fee you have to pay for electricity. And I'm talking very small, $20 a month at most. But as more and more people get solar panels, then, if everybody in Jonesboro got solar panels tomorrow, which isn't going to happen, how would City Water and Light pay the bills? I don't know. I just don't know. But it's owned by the city, so I guess, they have to raise taxes or something to pay for it. I don't know. But anyway, this brings up a second point. The second point is in Florida. Right here, here's a news story from WKMG News 6, Click Orlando. And this is talking about how Florida solar customers and others are shocked over a new charge on electric bills. Now, what they're starting to do, some companies they're starting to charge people a surcharge for having electricity if they have solar panels, or they're doing this minimum bill thing where you have to have a minimum of $20 of usage a month or $30 of usage a month. If you don't, they're going to charge you for it anyway, like if you use the electricity. And before some of you say, well, that's because Florida sucks, Florida hates clean air, and Florida hates, clean water. Before you start blaming it on the Republicans, this is coming to a blue state near you, I guarantee it. It's like I posted once about how Arkansas, back when they first started charging extra for electric cars to register them, I swear a bunch of people chimed in, so that's because y'all guys vote Republican. Those damn Republicans are going to destroy the planet. And they had no idea that California did the same thing. I pointed it out to them. So before you criticize one of the parties, this is coming to a blue state near you, I guarantee you, if your utilities are publicly owned. If they're privately owned, it depends on whether your state hates profit and hates corporations or not. But if it's publicly owned, I guarantee you this is coming to you soon. Let's hear what they have to say here.
Some Duke Energy customers got a pretty big shock when they opened their January electric bill.
The utility began requiring customers spend at least $30 a month. If they didn't, they were charged money to make up the difference. News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval found out that is making a lot of customers angry.
Quite a few, guys. These customers actually called our newsroom trying to find out what was going on. Now, this is called a minimum bill. Duke's is about $30 a month. Florida Power and Light just approved a similar measure, $25 minimum bill per month there.
See, and I'm wondering if Arkansas, under this ruling, could do a minimum bill requirement without violating the judge's orders or the ruling.
We found out this comes as the legislature is looking at greenlighting this for all utilities. So how many panels do you have up there?
27.
I have
Scott
21.
Weinstein says the solar panels he installed on his winter garden home give him the power to sell some of the electricity he generates back to Duke Energy. That has dropped his monthly electric bill from $127 to $23. So when he opened his Duke Energy bill and saw he had an added charge of $17.
I immediately called Duke Energy and said, what is this? And they said, oh, this is a new fee that we put on. And I said, are you kidding me? And they said, no. I said, where did this come from?
My neighbor.
Anyway, as you see there, $12.46 customer charge, minimum bill adjustment, $17.54. If it had a $15 customer charge, it'd been $15 minimum bill adjustment. So that's all I'll play of this. You know, if you want to watch the whole video, there will be a link. But I wonder if this is coming to Arkansas. Now, I hope not, because selfish reasons, I don't want to pay it. What do you guys think? Don't forget to comment, subscribe, the usual blah, 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 blah. But anyway, what do y'all think? Y'all think this is BS? You think it's understandable? Are solar panels politicized yet the way electric cars are? Solar panels will at some point be politicized to the point that electric cars are politicized, because everything is politicized these days. Every freaking thing. Everything. It's sickening. Why do electric cars have to be politicized? And I guarantee you solar panels are going to be as well. I'm going to show pictures of when we had our house painted while talking about this, because what else am I going to show? I really don't like being on camera. I'd rather not be. But when it comes to everybody paying their share and everybody paying something for the grid, it costs money to keep that grid running. And I don't know enough about how the electric company makes money to really speak on this logically. You know, but I imagine they make their profit, or at least break even if it's owned by the city, you know, by buying electricity and selling it at a profit. And then they take that money and buy the equipment they need and pay the employees, and hopefully there's money left at the end, or at least break even if it's owned by the city or state. So what's the solution? I don't know, and I could be easily persuaded either way on this. But I'm a big believer in everybody paying their fair share, you know, when it comes to keeping the grid running. What I think might be a solution, rather than having a minimum charge, like I said earlier, I think what might be a good solution is if you provide extra electricity, if it's for a private house, then the city just keeps it. You don't get any money back, you know. Or, what I like better is they keep it and you keep getting a negative balance on your account, and the electric company would have the choice of doing this once a year automatically, or you could request it up to once a calendar year. And whatever the electric company puts in place, they have to leave it like that for a while. You know, but what would happen is you would request that you get paid the negative balance on your account. And they would pay you 80% of it and keep 20% for a grid fee. I think that might be a good solution. They keep the extra electricity you put into the grid, and they eventually pay you for it at 80% of the cost. Then they can take that other and make some profit on it. You know, but again, I really don't know. That's just an idea that, what do you think? Maybe you can persuade me one way or the other. Maybe you can persuade me, because I'm really not sure. I really don't know. But I think for now it doesn't matter, because where I live, Jonesboro, Arkansas, population of about 80,000, probably 99.99999% of the homes do not have solar panels. So it's not a big deal. Who cares if 12 people aren't paying for their share of the grid? Ooh, it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's about all. See ya.